Very good morning to you. Welcome to the West Ham Voice on a Tuesday morning. My apologies for not doing another West Ham weekly on Monday night. I only just got back from being away at the weekend on Monday afternoon, early Monday evening, so I wasn't quite ready for doing a live show. I promise they will be back soon. I really do. I know I've gone about 3 or 4 weeks without doing a West Ham weekly, and I apologise for that. Look, if you're new to the channel, please do become a subscriber of the channel. Doesn't cost anything for you to become a subscriber. All the content on the channel is free as well. So it'd be great, it would help the channel to grow if you become a subscriber. If you like the content, if you like what you see and what you hear, please also do hit the like button that's down there somewhere, which will also help the channel. And there's a little bell notification too, which will alert you to next time a video is coming up. Now, before I talk about the striker situation at West Ham, I want to just mention again something I spoke about a few weeks ago. And that's about the concession ticket issue that's going on at the club. Now, if you recall, West Ham United have made a decision this season that anyone that's is looking for a concession ticket for the first time in bands 1 to 4 at the stadium have to get a concession ticket in bands 5 and 6. They won't be allowed if you're a new if you're looking for a new concession. Say, for example, you bring your son, your daughter, your nephew, your niece, whatever, you want to bring them to football, you want to get a season ticket for them, and they're sort of under 18. Normally, up until last season, you'd be able to get a concession ticket anywhere in the stadium. If you were reaching retirement age and you were looking for a concession ticket last season, you could have got yourself a concession ticket. Now, if you are now bringing, young children, you want to get season tickets for them, or if you've now reached concession age, retirement age, this season you can only get concession tickets in bands 5 and 6 only. So basically, the lower tiers of the stadium are only for full price season tickets, which is completely wrong. Now, West Ham United's approach on this has been about, well, other clubs are doing it, so why shouldn't we? But as I think I explained a few weeks back, the amount of money that they'll get for having only fully priced season tickets in the lower tiers amounts to something like £600,000 a year in additional income. Hardly worth the while for upsetting so many fans. If you think about it, the upper tiers, they're quite high up, and for someone that's quite elderly or someone that's looking for a concession ticket for whatever reason, either young children or elderly people, etc., to expect them to have to climb all those stairs in the upper tiers is really outrageous. It's really, really bad. And I've got to commend Hammers United and Save Our Concessions for the fight that they're taking to the board about this decision that's been made. Look, there was a petition. I asked you to sign a petition, and many of you did do so. So thank you for that. If you've yet to sign this petition, you can go to change.org and then /oppose season ticket. Yeah, it's a longer title, but if you only type in change.org, in the change.org website, if you look for if you type in oppose season ticket, it will automatically come up. It'll be the petition that you need to sign. Please do sign it. Now, they've done really well. They've got over 10,000 signatures already. Want to get now to 15,000. And if just to convince you, if you're not yet convinced that whether you should bother or not, even if you're not a regular, season ticket holder yourself. But if you're obviously people are West Ham fans that watch this channel. So as a West Ham fan, if you really want convincing, go to Twitter or whatever it's called now, X it's called now, and look up at Save Concessions. Look up that handle at Save Concessions, and on their handle, on their page, they've just created a really, really good video. If that doesn't convince you to sign up, I don't know what will. It really is. It's sort of like it hits the spot. So, like I said, if you've yet to sign the petition, go to change.org /, type in oppose season tickets, and you'll find the petition to sign. And if you need convincing, go to Twitter, go to X, and look up at Save Concessions and look at the video that they've just created. It's a superb video, and that will definitely get you to sign up. It's really worthy. It's a worthy cause. It affects everybody, and I endorse it. I've had conversations about how you endorse it, but I do endorse, and it's absolutely worthwhile. And I will try and get somebody on either from Hammers United or Save Concessions or both on the channel soon to discuss it even further. But yeah, please go ahead and do that. Now, on to, I'm going to keep that, by the way, that banner going across the bottom. Now, let's talk about strikers, because there's been so much talk recently about the various strikers that we've been linked to. They're all, in a way, quite different to each other, but there are quite a few strikers that are linked to us, which seem to be traditional number 9 target men. But is that the type of striker that is going to fit into Julen Lopetegui's style of play? Now, in order to get some understanding of the kind of strikers that he's had in the past, we need to briefly look at the history of the strikers that he's managed over the past few years. Now, during his 3.5-year reign at Sevilla, Lopetegui signed 7 strikers at the Spanish club. In his first season, he signed 4 strikers. Of the 7, he signed 4 within the first season alone. The most expensive of the strikers being Yusuf En-Nesyri, who is signed from another Spanish club, Leganes, for a fee of 20 million euros in January 2020. Now, with En-Nesyri arriving, he actually replaced the striker that Lopetegui signed in the summer of 2019, which was Mounas Debba. As mentioned, Debba was one of the 4 striker signings just in Lopetegui's first year in charge, with the others being Luc de Jong and Chicharito, which they all signed in the summer of 2019. With regards to Debba, he came from Australian club Red Bull Salzburg for a fee of 17 million euros. He was 27 years of age at the time and had a fantastic goal scoring record in the Austrian Bundesliga with 72 goals and 31 assists in 128 games. But it just didn't happen for him at Sevilla, where he made just 9 appearances with 3 goals to his name before he was shipped off to German club Hoffenheim in January 2020. And again, as I've said, he was then replaced by En-Nesyri. With regards to De Jong, he was much more successful. He arrived off the back of 5 fantastic years at PSV Eindhoven, where in over 200 appearances, he scored 112 goals with 57 assists, and at the age of 28 at the time, was probably at the peak of his prime. Unlike Debba, he did well. He did reasonably well in his first season with 10 goals in 46 appearances. And in the second season, he got 9 goals, which seemed to earn him a loan move to Barcelona. And then, of course, Chicharito, who we all knew from West Ham United, he was actually signed from West Ham. He was brought in at the very end of that summer transfer window in 2019, and he lasted no more than 6 months at the Spanish club. He made 15 appearances with just 3 goals. Now, all 3 strikers, they were very different from each other, but in a way similar, if that makes sense. As we know, Chicharito's more of a goal poacher with great finishing ability. De Boer had great work rate, quite a different kind of direct striker, but not great area in the air. And as for De Jong, he is a classic number 9. Great at hold-up play, great aerial threat, great potential in front of goal. Now, the similarities in each of these players are that they were all direct, proper number 9s, traditional number 9s. Now, ironically, En-Nesyri was quite different from these. And it was En-Nesyri who really excelled under Lopetegui's footballing style of play. When he arrived at Seville, he signed, as I've said, in January 2020. In his career there, he made 196 appearances, scoring 73 goals with 7 assists. That's around, 1 in every 3 games, more or less? Now, of those 196 appearances and 73 goals, in the 3.5 years under Lopetegui, he made 135 appearances, scoring 40 of those 73 goals. That's roughly one goal in almost every three and a half games, give or take. Now, and Nesri, we know what he's like. We've heard about him quite a few times before. He's a towering force, winning, roughly about 40% of aerial duels. He's adept at being a part of a quick conversion game from defense to attack with long ball He can master the long ball tactic routine. He's great at hold up play to allow other players to come into the attacking third of the pitch. He defends from the front with his pressing as well. All of these traits are part of Lopetegui'S game plan. But that's not the only way Lopetegui gets his team to play football. Lopetegui is also technically astute in terms of, what he wants his team to do. And he wants technically gifted players, which again, Nesri was one of them. So Lopetegui isn't only reliant on his strikers to get the lion's share of goals. Now, during his time at Sevilla, Lopetegui, he was in charge of 170 games, which he won 90 of, drew 44 of them. And in that time, his team scored 247 goals, an average of 1.5 goals per game, give or take, which is very decent. Now, in those 170 games, 247 of those goals scored, his strikers got only 80 of them in total, which is like a third of the total of all the goals scored. And that's because of his style of football. He wants his team to play. He expects his strikers to be part of the overall team effort, even if it means that they themselves don't get the glory of scoring all those goals themselves. Lopetegui's preferred formation is a 4-3-3. And at times, the central attacking player of those three can tend to be a false number 9. This was further evidence at Wolves, where he managed just 27 games during his brief tenure there, of which Wolves won 10 games, they drew 5 and they lost 12, but his team scored 31 goals in that time. And his strikers didn't make a significant contribution to those 31 goals. Of those 31, only 7 came from the strikers. Now, admittedly, Lopetegui did have a few issues with strikers at Wolves. He had an aging Diego Costa, who scored just 1 goal. He had 3 injured strikers at the time in Raul Jimenez, Hee-Wan Chan, and the worst being Sasa Kalajic, who was out all season with a cruciate ligament tear. But he did try to replenish strikers in the January transfer window of 2023. He brought in Matheus Cunha on loan from Atletico to Madrid, but even he only scored 2 of those 31 goals. So as far as striker analysis is concerned, there really isn't one striker I can say that's been anywhere near as prolific as under Lopetegui as En-Nesyri has. So with many social media columns repeating that there is an interest in En-Nesyri reuniting with Lopetegui at West Ham, why hasn't it happened yet? If he's the most successful striker that Lopetegui has managed, then surely he should be bringing him to West Ham United. But we haven't seemed to make a move for him. He's 27 years of age. He's got 1 year left on his contract, and he'd be available for around about £20 million. So I guess many are going, well, surely it's a no-brainer, But it seems that Lopetegui and Steidten must be looking for the new En-Nesyri as far as they're concerned, or something pretty damn close. And with all these strikers that we've been linked to, not all can play the Lopetegui system that En-Nesyri did. Lopetegui wants an adaptable team player who can play out wide, who can play the false number 9, who can play deep, who can play as a striker, as a front man, etc., etc. The lot. He wants the lot. That's why when I hear links to the likes of Ivan Toney, Samu Morodian, and Alexander Sorloth, Calvin Klein, Lewin, all of them, Calvin Klein, did I say? Calvin Lewin, I meant. I'm not so sure that Lopetegui wants just that target man. I think he'll be looking for a player who can play, like I said, in different ways. And this is where I think Jhon Duran comes in. Now, look, there's a lot of interest in the Aston Villa striker. Chelsea are reported to be very keen on him, but I'm not so sure that Aston Villa will want to strengthen Chelsea's squad. Now, that may be for us as well. He may not, Aston Villa may not want to strengthen our squad either. But Duran is the ideal player that would tick many of the boxes that Lopetegui and Steidten could be looking for. Now, as I mentioned in a video recently, Steidten isn't just known for the young players that he unearths. He's also great at spotting decent players at other clubs with potential, but are not just hitting their peak at those clubs for one reason or another. And when he signs them, when he signed them before for the previous clubs that he's worked at, they fitted into the criteria required of the particular player that we're looking for, particular type of style of player that we're looking for. Duran, he's only 20 years of age. He's still learning his trade. But to be quite honest with you, he's the sort of player that could really thrive at West Ham under a Lopetegui system. The Colombian striker signed for Aston Villa back in 2023, January 2023, for a fee of 15 million pounds from MLS side Chicago Fire. Now, apparently, Villa are now rumoured to be looking for 40 million to let him go, which, to be honest with you, seems rather steep, despite the player's potential. Duran, he's only made 49 appearances for Villa so far, scoring 8 goals. But of those 49 appearances, he's just made 10 starts in all competitions, of which 3 are in the Premier League. He's contracted to Villa till 2028, but he's unhappy at just how little game time he's getting. And his frustration is shown with a tense atmosphere between him and Villa manager Unai Emery. Now, the reason why he would be the perfect fit for Lopetegui is, as I said, the system that he can play. He's adaptable. He's a versatile player. He can certainly play as a central striker. He can sit deeper as a false number 9. He can interchange positions with a front 3. He can play out wide. And he's technically and tactically astute to adapt to the needs of a game. He's got great pace, great agility. He's got great intelligent movement of the ball, off the ball, allowing him to find space for goal scoring. He puts defensive shifts in as well from the front. He presses from the front, pressing defenders to make errors. And of course, like most men, like most strikers, he's a great finisher as well. And he's a full Colombian international. He's with the national team at the moment in the US, participating in the Copa America tournament. Now, if it's not Duran that we're looking for, then it's someone who's going to be very, very similar to that sort of style. He's got all the traits that En-Nesyri seemed to have, but he's a younger version of Youssef En-Nesyri. And that's why, like I said, when it comes to the likes of Tony, Sorloth, and other traditional number 9 strikers, I can't really see them fitting in to the West Ham system, the new way that Lopetegui is going to get us to play. I could be completely wrong. I could be completely wrong on this, but Steidten and Lopetegui don't seem to be rushing their striker search. We've had many disasters and near misses with strikers in the past. Yet when we do get a decent striker, they've never been used to their strengths. I guess we're going to have to wait and see how things develop. Duran, as I said, is on international duty at the moment, so things may not happen anytime soon. It'll be interesting to see how it all goes. Like I said, if you're new to the channel, do subscribe to the channel. And if you've yet to sign the concession petition, please do that as well. Thank you for watching and listening, and I'll see you all very soon.